Do you know that, according to the National Institute on Aging, NIA, 1 in 3 people over the age of 60 begins to experience memory decline, frequent lack of focus, and loss of balance while walking? Have you ever walked into a room to get something, only to forget what you were looking for once you got there? Or maybe you have felt mentally heavy every morning, even after a full night's sleep. These seemingly small signs are actually early warnings that your brain may be gradually shrinking over time. But the good news is, you do not need medication or machines to stop this from happening. In today's video, I will share with you a simple exercise that takes just 3 minutes a day, costs nothing, requires no equipment, yet can help reawaken sleeping areas of your brain, bringing back your clarity, balance, and confidence with every step you take. If you are over 60, make sure to watch this entire video. It could change the way you care for your health each day. What country are you watching from? Let me know in the comments below. There is one fact that not everyone knows. The brain actually starts to shrink gradually after the age of 40. You do not have to wait until old age to notice memory decline. Even during middle age, the process of neural aging has already quietly begun. According to research from Harvard University, the brain loses about 5% of its volume every decade after age 40, especially in the regions responsible for memory, motor coordination, and information processing. It may sound alarming, but this is actually a completely natural physiological process. As nerve cells die over time and are not regenerated or properly stimulated, the network of brain connections becomes less flexible, causing signals to travel more slowly and less accurately. As a result, we are more likely to experience forgetfulness, lack of focus, or even lose our sense of direction in familiar places. In addition, the amount of blood and oxygen nourishing the brain also decreases with age, reducing the brain's ability to recover and form new neural connections. Especially when a sedentary lifestyle is combined with prolonged stress, this degeneration happens much faster. When the body is tired, resting is enough, but when the brain is tired, it needs proper stimulation to stay sharp and active in the long term. That is why some people over 60 still have a clear and alert mind, while others the same age may become forgetful or even confused. You see, the difference lies in whether we care for the brain the same way we care for the heart. So how can we keep the brain healthy and active as we age? When we talk about memory loss or slow thinking, we often blame it on aging, but the truth may surprise many people. The brain does not weaken because of age. It weakens because it is no longer being challenged each day. Just like a muscle, the brain needs to be exercised to stay strong and flexible. If it is not used, it gradually loses its ability to be agile, responsive, and retain information. Imagine someone who used to be a skilled artist but has not picked up a pencil in 10 years. Would that person still draw as well as before? The brain is the same. When we stop learning, stop moving, stop communicating, or stop practicing thinking skills, the brain enters a kind of hibernation and nerve cells are gradually eliminated through the body's natural processes. This is especially noticeable in older adults who have retired. Without work, without mental challenges, life becomes repetitive and dull. When the brain no longer has tasks to perform, it conserves energy by shutting down some of its active regions. This leads to rapid decline in memory, focus, and even emotional response. What is more concerning is that once the habit of mental inactivity sets in, we slowly lose the motivation to reawaken it. But here is where hope begins. According to neuroscientists, just a small amount of stimulation, applied correctly and regularly, can reawaken the brain in astonishing ways. And the best part is, this process does not require money, medication, or machines. It all begins with your daily choices. So what is the most natural and effective way to stimulate the brain? There is a remarkable ability that the human brain possesses, but very few people know how to take advantage of it. It is called neuroplasticity, the brain's lifelong ability to regenerate and adapt. Simply put, neuroplasticity is the process by which the brain forms new connections between nerve cells whenever we learn something new. Try a different activity or practice an old skill in a new way. The good news is, this process continues even after we reach the age of 60 or 70 as long as the brain is properly stimulated. According to research at McMaster University, older adults who continue to learn new skills, engage in physical activity, and maintain social interaction tend to have significantly better memory and problem-solving abilities compared to those without mental stimulation. Neuroplasticity is like creating new paths through a forest. The more often you walk those paths, the clearer and easier they become. But if you leave them untouched for too long, weeds grow over and the trail disappears. That is why, when you do exercises that combine both movement and mental focus, you are clearing the path in your brain every day. More importantly, this process can greatly slow down degenerative conditions like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and age-related memory decline. This is not just theory. Numerous scientific studies confirm that regularly training your brain's ability to react, coordinate movement, and focus attention increases the production of neurotransmitters and helps maintain the flexibility of the cortex for the long term. And you do not need much to start this process. Just a small daily exercise, done for a few minutes, is enough to awaken your sleeping nervous system. So what is this exercise that can activate the entire brain so effectively? It may sound hard to believe, but with a simple exercise lasting just 3 minutes a day, you can activate 5 key brain regions that support memory, alertness, movement, and even language. When you combine physical movement with a mental task, like counting backward, the brain is forced to engage its entire processing network to coordinate information from multiple systems. First is the motor cortex, which controls the movement of your arms and legs. Next is the cerebellum, which helps you maintain balance and perform smooth, coordinated motions. At the same time, the prefrontal cortex, the command center of the brain, handles the backward counting, memory recall, and movement control. Equally important is the vestibular system, which maintains your balance while standing in place. And finally, the corpus callosum, the bridge that connects the left and right hemispheres, ensures that information flows smoothly between both sides of the brain. When all of these regions are activated together, the brain increases the release of BDNF, a protein that nourishes brain cells, helping them grow, survive longer, and form stronger connections. According to the International Journal of Neurology, after just 10 minutes of coordinated movement each day, BDNF levels in the brain can rise by up to 32%, and this effect can last for several hours. What is even more remarkable is that when you add a backward counting element such as 19590, you are not just moving, you are also training short-term memory, improving focus, and keeping your language skills from declining. This is truly a simple yet powerful exercise, like a mini gym session for both the body and the brain at the same time. And you can do it entirely at home, without any equipment. This exercise requires no equipment, no large space, and you can do it right in your living room or beside your bed, all in just about 3 minutes a day. Start by marching lightly in place, creating a steady rhythm with your legs to warm up the body. Then, use your right hand to reach across to the left side of your body and touch your left shoulder, then your left hip, and finally your left ear. The sequence to remember is shoulder, hip, ear. Repeat this movement in a steady rhythm while continuing to march in place. This is where the brain must coordinate movement, spatial awareness, and memory. But what makes this exercise especially powerful is one simple yet extremely effective element: backward counting. Each time you touch your ear, begin counting backward from 100, subtracting 5 each time. For example, 100, 95, 90, 85, and so on until you reach 50. Do not worry if you make a mistake or miss a step. What matters most is that you are challenging your brain to handle multiple tasks at once, and the initial confusion is actually a sign that your brain is learning something new. Once you complete one side, switch to your left hand and perform the same sequence on the right side of your body, continuing to count backward from 50 to 0 in the same way. Though this exercise is simple, when done consistently every day, it improves coordination, boosts memory, activates neural networks, and keeps the brain in an active and engaged state. It is especially helpful if you are recovering from an injury or feeling mentally sluggish. This is a safe and natural way to reignite your mental energy. Something remarkable begins to happen when you stick to this exercise every day, even for just the first 2 weeks. First, you will clearly feel your morning alertness returning. Many people have shared that they no longer wake up with a heavy or foggy head. Instead, they feel clear and refreshed, as if the brain has just been renewed. Memory also improves significantly. Simple tasks that used to be easy to forget, like where you placed your keys, whether you turned off the stove, or who you were supposed to call this morning, suddenly become much easier to manage. A woman named Carol, age 68, living in Florida, shared in a health community group. I no longer find myself asking, "What was I just about to do?" After just 2 weeks, I feel lighter in my head, I sleep more deeply, and I walk more steadily than before. There is real science behind this. When you activate multiple areas of the brain at once, you are not only helping neurons transmit signals faster, but also improving the performance of the vestibular system, which controls balance. As a result, dizziness and unsteadiness decrease significantly. In addition, people who suffer from mild anxiety, chronic stress, or a lack of motivation often notice a positive shift. They feel more mentally engaged, find it easier to keep up with daily tasks, and no longer feel like they are drifting through tired, unmotivated mornings. Most importantly, confidence returns. When you can control your movement, remember more clearly, and stay mentally sharp, you stop feeling like you are getting old. Instead, you feel like you are living, learning, and restoring yourself from within. What troubles me most when I speak with many older adults is one common feeling: regret. They often say, "I wish I had known this earlier," or "if only I had started at age 60, not 75. When the brain begins to decline, most people do not notice it right away. Memory loss does not happen overnight. It is a slow, silent decline that unfolds over many days without warning. At first, you forget the name of a familiar person. Then, you miss an appointment. Later, you cannot quite remember what you had for lunch. And then one day, you may no longer recognize the way home. According to the National Institute on Aging, 1 in 9 people over the age of 65 has some form of dementia, and in most cases, it is because no action was taken early when the brain first began to deteriorate. The painful truth is that once nerve cells die off in large numbers, there is no way to fully restore them, no matter how much medication you take or how many exercises you do. That is why prevention is always the smartest and most effective approach, especially when it comes to brain health. Do not wait until you need someone to remind you of appointments, take you to the doctor, or help manage your medications every day. Start today with small but powerful actions, like the 3-minute exercise we just explored together. This is not just a way to protect your memory, it is a way to protect your self-respect. independence, and dignity in later life. Because when you can control your mind, you can control your life. And as I always say, clarity of mind does not happen by accident. It is the result of a choice repeated every single day. We have just gone through a short journey together, but one that can bring about a big change in life after the age of 60. From recognizing the truth that the brain starts to shrink after 40, to understanding that brain decline is not caused by aging, but by lack of stimulation. Then exploring the amazing mechanism of neuroplasticity, and finally applying a simple 3-minute daily exercise to restore and activate brain function. You may have once believed that memory loss or poor balance is something unavoidable with age, but today, you have learned that just one small action, repeated each day, can completely change the direction of your brain and your life. And the best part is, you do not need a gym, you do not need expensive machines, and you do not need any kind of medication. All you need is to give yourself 3 minutes to reconnect with your memory, your emotions, and your belief in yourself. If today is your first day caring for your brain health, consider this a meaningful milestone. And if you have neglected your brain for a long time, that is perfectly okay. Today is always the best day to start again. Make a promise to yourself starting tomorrow. I will give myself 3 minutes each morning to awaken my brain, stay mentally sharp, and walk with confidence on the journey of healthy aging. If you found today's content helpful, do not forget to subscribe to the channel for more tips on nutrition, movement, and brain supporting herbs after age 60. And where are you doing this exercise? What results have you felt? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I read every message from you, wishing you a day full of clarity, strength, and inspiration to live fully.